Chosen one, listen closely. Heaven has stopped time to speak directly to your spirit. This is not a coincidence. This is a divine interruption. God says your rise will shock your family. The same people who once laughed at your dreams will soon witness your transformation. The same ones who called you ordinary will have to confess that there was always something extraordinary upon you. You were not created to blend in. You were created to stand out. You have been hidden for a reason. The silence, the waiting, the rejection, it was all divine training. God was not punishing you, He was preparing you. Every closed door was a rehearsal for the one door heaven would open that no man could shut. You walked through seasons that felt like loss, but they were simply the roots growing deep for the fruit that is about to appear. The voice of prophecy is speaking now. You have entered a moment that will define generations after you. The battles you fought in secret will soon become public testimony. The tears you cried alone were not wasted. They watered the soil of your breakthrough. Heaven saw every moment you wanted to quit. Heaven heard every prayer you whispered when no one understood you. And heaven has decided it is your time. The voice of God thundered in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 13. The Lord will make you the head and not the tail. You shall be above only and not beneath. This word is your confirmation. You are stepping into a position of divine elevation. You will no longer chase what belongs to you. It will locate you. Every delay is about to make sense. Every humiliation will soon become evidence of God's glory. Your rise will not be quiet. It will be loud enough for those who once doubted you to witness the truth that grace outruns bloodline expectations. You were never meant to follow the family pattern. You were meant to break it. The spirit of limitation that hovered over your name, your finances, and your destiny is being dismantled. The curse of comparison is ending. God is rewriting your family story through your obedience. They will say, "How did it happen so fast?" But they won't understand the years you spent in the wilderness. They won't know the nights you prayed through tears, asking heaven not to forget you. The time of obscurity is closing. You are about to be seen, not for your appearance, but for your anointing. The light upon you will not be subtle, it will be undeniable. And when the conversation in your household shifts from, "Who do they think they are?" to, "Surely, the hand of God is with them," you will know the prophecy was true. The enemy tried to bury your name before it could bloom. He thought if he could make you tired, you would settle for average. But the fire inside you was never yours, it was divine. You were burning with heaven's assignment all along, and now the flame is rising again, stronger, brighter, unstoppable. You have nothing to prove, only something to manifest. You are not here to argue with disbelief. You are here to display divine proof. When God decides to elevate someone, no opposition can block the announcement. Every word spoken against you will serve as background noise to your victory. This is the moment to lift your head, straighten your crown, and remember who sent you. You were not chosen by chance. You were appointed by design. The same voice that called Moses from the desert is calling your name from the ashes of what was. You are not the same person who started this journey. You are wiser. You are sharper. You are anointed. And soon, your family will see the difference. Not through argument, not through pride, but through the undeniable evidence of favor. The very ones who underestimated you will look again and wonder how the stone they rejected became the cornerstone of restoration in the family line. Your rise will bring healing. Your breakthrough will carry redemption. Your victory will silence generational doubt. And through it all, you will know it was never your power. It was God's. If this word confirms what heaven has been whispering in your spirit, write 777 in the comments below as your prophetic declaration. And if you haven't yet, like, share, and subscribe, because your rise is just beginning, and heaven is not done speaking. The heavens are aligning with your obedience, and every unseen promise is preparing to surface. Walk forward without fear, for what is written over your life cannot be erased by human doubt or delay. Your rise is not pending, it has already been declared. Your footsteps carry prophecy now. Every move you make shakes the silence that once held you back. Keep standing, keep shining, and keep believing. The same God who called you out is about to display you before many. Your story will glorify His name, His. You remember the long nights, the stillness that spoke louder than any storm, the silence that made you question if heaven still heard your name. It felt as though every door had been sealed, every promise delayed, and every dream suspended in waiting. You wondered if the vision you carried was a mistake, or worse, if it had expired. But even in that silence, God was speaking through the pause. You were not being ignored, you were being built. There are seasons when the Creator hides His chosen ones in plain sight. You looked like everyone else, but heaven knew what you carried. You moved through ordinary days, yet there was nothing ordinary about your destiny. The hidden years were divine protection. God could not reveal you too soon, because premature exposure destroys what has not yet matured. Your heart has always felt heavier than others could understand. It was not because you were weak, but because you were carrying something sacred. Every disappointment carved depth into you. Every tear became a seed of revelation. You learned to worship when nothing was working. You learned to love when you had no reason to. That kind of endurance cannot be taught, it can only be formed in fire. You see now that the silence was never empty. It was filled with God's quiet instruction. He was teaching you discernment in the dark. You began to hear His voice not in thunder, but in whispers. You learned that real strength is born when applause is gone. The hidden years were your divine classroom, your sacred shaping ground. The Word of God declares in the book of Job, chapter 8, verse 7, "Though your beginning was small, yet your latter days will be very great." That verse was written for you. Your story is not ending in loss, it is unfolding into greatness. The days that once seemed wasted will soon testify that nothing was in vain. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak will serve as proof that God's timing is perfect. You may not have seen it then, but heaven was aligning everything in silence. When you looked around and saw others advancing, you felt left behind. Yet, what you didn't realize was that God was stretching your foundation. The deeper the foundation, the higher the rise. He was ensuring that when He lifted you, you would not collapse under the weight of favor. Some doors stayed shut because they were too small for the version of you that heaven was forming. Do you remember the promises whispered years ago? The dreams that once felt impossible? They are not dead. They were simply dormant. The same God who allowed you to be buried is now calling you to bloom. Seeds look buried, but they are planted. You were not being buried in defeat. You were being planted in destiny. Even when no one saw your effort, God did. Every moment of perseverance has been counted. The silent prayers you prayed under your breath reached the throne, and though you saw no immediate answer, heaven was moving behind the scenes, weaving miracles into your future. You were misunderstood because your process was different. Others could not comprehend your isolation. They thought you were failing when, in truth, you were being refined. Gold must go through fire before it shines. Oil must be crushed before it flows. And a chosen one must walk through stillness before walking in glory. Now the silence that once felt suffocating is about to make sense. God hid you because your voice was not meant to echo in small spaces. He was reserving your unveiling for an appointed time, a divine moment that could not be rushed. You are stepping into that time now. What was once unseen will soon be undeniable. Do not resent the hidden years. They built the character your calling requires. They taught you to rely on heaven when no one else believed. You will one day thank God for every unanswered prayer, for every delay, for every lonely night, because all of it led you here to this threshold of greatness. Your rise will not simply elevate you, it will redefine your bloodline. Those who come after you will walk on the ground you fought to cleanse. You are the proof that small beginnings are not failures, they are the wombs of greatness. The waiting did not break you, it revealed you. The pain did not disqualify you, it purified you. And though you were hidden, you were never forgotten. The story that started in silence is about to echo with glory. Heaven has written your unveiling, and its headline reads, "What was small is now mighty. What was forgotten is now favored." The same silence that once made you tremble will soon testify of divine purpose. What felt like isolation was heaven's preparation for revelation. You are walking out of the shadows carrying wisdom, carrying oil, carrying fire that no storm can extinguish. Heaven has not forgotten your name. The story is turning in your favor. Every hidden moment was sacred groundwork for greatness. Now, as destiny unfolds, your steps will announce what faith has built in secret, unshakable, undeniable, unstoppable. You have carried weight that others never saw. The quiet strength beneath your smile was not human, it was divine. There were days when you wanted to disappear, when your heart felt like it could not bear another disappointment. Yet somehow, you kept standing. That somehow was the hand of God. He was holding you steady in places that should have broken you. He was whispering, "Don't give up. This is not where your story ends." You were never fighting ordinary battles. Every challenge you faced was proportionate to your calling. The greater the destiny, the deeper the warfare. Hell doesn't fight what doesn't threaten it. And you, chosen one, were born to disrupt darkness. Every storm that rose against you was terrified of the light you carry. There were nights when the tears wouldn't stop, when you asked, "Why me?" Heaven's answer was simple: because you are the one. You were chosen to carry healing where your family carried hurt. You were chosen to build faith where generations built fear. You were chosen to rise not only for yourself, but for every silent soul watching your journey. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. That scripture was not meant to be read, it was meant to be lived. You have walked through enough fear to recognize its scent, but now, courage lives inside your chest. God has not just strengthened you, He has transformed you. What once made you anxious now makes you powerful. What once broke you now builds you. The pain became a prophecy. Do you realize what your endurance has done every time you refused to quit? You shook the foundations of darkness. Every time you chose faith instead of bitterness. Heaven recorded your decision as worship. That's why the enemy's attacks felt personal, because he saw the crown before you did. Your strength is not loud, but it is loud enough for heaven to hear. Your heart is scarred, but every scar is evidence of survival. You learned that divine power does not always roar. Sometimes it simply refuses to collapse. You are living proof that brokenness can become brilliance when surrendered to God. And now, everything you endured is gathering meaning. The betrayal, the rejection, the silence, they were not wasted. They trained your spirit to move differently. You no longer seek validation from those who cannot see your worth. You walk by divine instruction now. You wait for God's timing, not human applause. Even the ones who left you behind served a purpose. Their absence became space for heaven to breathe on you. Their disbelief became the contrast for your miracle. The same mouths that doubted you will one day carry your testimony. The same hearts that misunderstood you will soon honor the grace that carried you through. The season of proving yourself is over. You are entering a season of demonstration. God Himself will vindicate you. You will not need to explain the anointing you carry, it will speak for you. Every delay has been divine timing disguised as disappointment. Every no was protecting the yes that fits your destiny. And when that door opens, it will not creak, it will swing wide. Those who once pitied you will stand silent as heaven lifts you higher. The same God who watched you cry in secret is preparing to display you in strength. Your story is not about survival anymore. It's about revelation. Your rise is more than personal, it's prophetic. It confirms that God still honors endurance, still rewards the faithful, still lifts the humble. You will not have to announce your comeback. Your presence will do it for you. If your spirit agrees with this moment, comment. Light wins. Say it as a declaration that no darkness around you can overpower the divine fire within you. Those two words are not a phrase, they are a prophecy that every shadow over your life is losing its grip right now. When you type light wins, you are not just commenting words, you are prophesying over your atmosphere. You are declaring that no matter how heavy the darkness felt, no matter how deep the confusion seemed, the light of God within you cannot be extinguished. The moment you speak it, heaven echoes it. Light wins is a seal of victory over every unseen battle. It means your story will not end in shadows. It means that the strength of God inside you will always outshine the opposition around you. You have walked through valleys, but now you carry the sunrise. When you say it, you are aligning yourself with the eternal truth that darkness never gets the final word. So speak it boldly. Light wins. Let those two words remind you that grace has already gone before you. No weapon, no rumor, no doubt can stand against the glow heaven placed inside your soul. The light in you wins always. You have been through battles that left invisible bruises, moments when the pain was so deep that words could not describe it. Yet, through every silent ache, heaven was still writing your story. Nothing about your suffering was wasted. The same tears that fell in private have been counted in divine record. Each one watered the soil of your transformation. There is a beauty that only emerges from brokenness, a depth that only forms in delay. You once thought the silence meant abandonment, but now you see it was preparation. God was not ignoring you. He was refining you. He was teaching you to trust His unseen hand when you could not trace His voice. You thought you were waiting for Him, but He was waiting for you to stop striving, to surrender, to believe again. You had to learn that not every loss is a curse and not every delay is denial. Some pain was the price of pruning, and pruning is proof of purpose. The branches that carried too much weight had to be trimmed for new fruit to grow. That's why certain people left, certain doors closed, certain opportunities vanished. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. Heaven removed what could not survive in your next season, according to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs. Chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. This was never about you figuring everything out. It was about you learning to trust what you could not see. You learned that the silence of God is not the absence of God. He was closer in the quiet than in the noise. He was holding your future steady while you were breaking in the present. Now, look back at the path you walked, the moments that seemed unbearable, the prayers that seemed unanswered. Can you see it now? Every disappointment was direction. Every delay was divine timing. You were never off track. You were being strategically rerouted toward purpose. The wilderness was not a punishment, it was an awakening. You see, destiny is not revealed in comfort. It is uncovered in contradiction, when everything falls apart. Revelation begins. It's in the moments when nothing makes sense that faith becomes real. And you, chosen one, have walked through the classroom of faith without realizing it. Every hardship was a hidden lesson. Every unanswered prayer taught you dependence. Even your pain had a purpose. It trained your spirit to see what eyes cannot see. You began to recognize divine patterns, to sense when heaven was moving, even in the stillness. That's why you no longer panic when things shift unexpectedly. You've learned that divine interruption is often a sign of divine intention. You are not the same person who entered that dark season. Something in you has changed. Your spirit has grown quiet but strong, your discernment sharper, your peace unshakable. You have learned to rest in what once terrified you, and you no longer rush to fix what God is still forming. You've learned that some miracles require time, and time is not your enemy, it's God's assistant. The same people who questioned why it took you so long will one day marvel at how perfectly everything aligns. You will not have to defend your timeline. Heaven will make it obvious why things happened the way they did. The process that once embarrassed you will soon empower you. And when the breakthrough comes, and it will carry a peace that lasts. Because you'll know you didn't force it. You waited for it. You trusted for it. You grew into it. The blessing that is coming won't drain you. It will fit you. It will feel like home. Because it's yours by divine design, not human effort. Every prayer you prayed in exhaustion was stored as prophecy. Every lonely night was not empty. It was sacred. Heaven used your solitude as a stage for transformation. You were not losing your way, you were losing the version of yourself that couldn't carry destiny. You have graduated from the hidden years. You are now walking in a new rhythm, one that flows with peace instead of panic. You no longer chase what belongs to you. You attract it through alignment. You are learning that favor isn't forced, it's recognized. This next season will reveal what the silence was building. You will see that every unanswered prayer was answered in a higher way. The story will make sense soon, not because it becomes easier, but because your spirit will finally see the divine pattern in the chaos. What you endured has not been wasted, it has been multiplied. You will reap joy where you sowed tears. You will stand tall where you once crawled in pain. And when you look back, you will whisper, "Now I understand." Because through it all, God was not taking from you, He was preparing you for the kind of glory that silence alone can produce. They watched you struggle but never saw what heaven was forming beneath the surface. They saw your tears but never recognized the oil that was being pressed from them. Some even mistook your silence for surrender, thinking you had accepted defeat. But they were wrong. You were not quitting, you were cocooning. God was wrapping you in transformation, reshaping the wings that would one day carry you higher than anyone imagined. There is a sacred loneliness in being chosen. It sets you apart, isolates you, and then molds you into someone the world can no longer ignore. The misunderstanding you faced within your own family was not accidental, it was prophetic. Those closest to you often struggle to see the greatness in you because they've known your history. But heaven knows your destiny, and that is what now speaks louder than familiarity. Every judgment they cast, every word they spoke in doubt, Every look of disbelief, it all became fuel. God heard what they said in private, and instead of defending you, He decided to display you. There will be no arguments, no revenge, no proof needed. Your transformation will speak louder than your defense ever could. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 27. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. It has always been His pattern to raise those no one expected, to lift the quiet, the broken, the overlooked, and crown them with purpose. That is what He is doing through you. Your rise will not humiliate them, it will humble them. It will remind them that the same God who found you in your lowest place can reach anyone, anywhere. You are stepping into a divine unveiling. This season will not be loud with pride, but radiant with peace. You won't need to prove that you've changed. Your presence will carry proof. The same people who thought you were finished will have to face the light of your transformation. They won't even recognize you, not because your appearance changed, but because your atmosphere did. Every room you enter will feel the shift. Every word you speak will carry authority. You will no longer apologize for your anointing, because it was never a mistake. You were born for visibility, not for vanity, but for victory. When light rests upon a city, it cannot remain hidden. And when God lifts you, no man can lower you again. They will ask, "What happened?" And the answer will be simple: grace happened, faith happened, God happened. The family that doubted you will see that you were never trying to be above them. You were simply answering a higher call. Your rise will not bring shame to your bloodline. It will bring redemption. What they couldn't do, you will. Where they stopped, you will continue. You are the bridge between what was and what will be. Let them watch. Let them whisper. Let them wonder. Because while they are busy questioning, heaven is completing what it started in you. You are not climbing by ambition, you are being carried by divine timing. And when the light of your new season breaks through, it will not just bless you. It will bless everyone who once misunderstood you. Your forgiveness will release them, your peace will teach them. Your rise will reveal that grace does not hold grudges, it redeems stories. Chosen one, your life has become a quiet revolution of faith. You are living proof that divine favor does not need permission. You are the evidence that endurance pays off. Every second of pain was an investment, and now the return is ready. The unveiling begins not with thunder, but with calm. The world will see it in your peace before they see it in your success. And when they do, when they feel that shift, when your light reaches them, let it be a gentle reminder that what God does for one, He can do for another. Don't shout it, don't demand it. Just keep shining. Your rise itself will invite others to hope again. If your spirit feels this stirring, take a quiet moment now. Whisper gratitude. Let your heart nod in agreement. And when you feel led, if you feel led, spread this light. Pass it forward. Sometimes a simple act like letting the light travel through your hands, a gentle share into someone's darkness, becomes worship. When your heart smiles at this message, let it breathe out as a gesture of a silent candle lifted to heaven saying, "I receive the light, and if this place feels like a safe fire for your soul, stay near its warmth. Subscribe, not out of habit, but as one who chooses to walk beside light. You are not just following a message, you are joining a movement of light bearers who refuse to let pain have the final word. Keep shining, keep rising. Heaven is watching. There is a rhythm in heaven that human timing cannot interrupt. You are now stepping into that rhythm where what once delayed you will begin to accelerate you. Every moment that felt wasted is being redeemed. God is restoring not only time, but the honor attached to it. You are about to see why you had to wait. why certain doors stayed closed, and why others opened too late. It all led here to this divine unveiling. For too long, you looked at your journey through the eyes of comparison. You saw others rise while you remained hidden. You wondered if something was wrong with you, if you missed the moment. But God whispers, "You were never behind. I was building capacity in you." He did not want you to rise fast, He wanted you to rise right. And now, the foundations are strong enough to hold what He's releasing. There is a divine principle that heaven never violates. The greater the delay, the deeper the preparation. What others achieved in public, you achieved in private. What they gained quickly, you gained with roots. And when roots run deep, storms cannot uproot destiny. You have been trained to stand when everything else shakes, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay. This verse breathes through your story. The vision did not die. It matured. Every season that felt like a pause was actually a page turning. What you saw as stillness was divine incubation. And now, heaven declares, the appointed time has come. You are walking into the fulfillment of what once felt impossible. You will soon stand in rooms that carry your name. Opportunities that once overlooked you will now seek you. Those who dismissed you will be reminded of your value, not by your words, but by the undeniable evidence of favor. Do not shrink when this shift happens. You have earned the right to stand tall. You've endured what others would have escaped from. You've trusted when logic screamed otherwise. You've prayed when no one was listening. And heaven has recorded it all. There is nothing lost in God's economy. Every prayer, every seed, every act of obedience is now gathering to form your next season. You are about to become the proof that patience pays off. Your rise will not be a whisper, it will be a witness. The very family that once pitied you will have to admit God's hand is truly upon them. Not out of envy, but out of awe. This new chapter will not require your striving, it will require your surrender. The wind of God is carrying you now. You are not pushing the door open. The door is opening to meet you. Every step you take from here is guided. Every connection, every opportunity, every revelation, it will all flow in divine sequence. Don't be surprised when peace begins to replace your worry. That's the sign that heaven's alignment is working. You'll find yourself moving without fear, deciding without hesitation, and walking with a confidence that feels supernatural. That's not pride, it's purpose finally settling into place. You will look at the same sky that once felt distant and realize it was never empty. It was always waiting for your yes. The silence was not punishment, it was positioning. God delayed your rise not to deny you, but to ensure your arrival would shake the ground beneath your name. Everything that once fought to keep you small will now serve your expansion. Even your past mistakes will testify for you. Grace will rewrite your reputation. The shame that tried to cling to your name will dissolve in the light of what God is about to do. And when the evidence of favor begins to manifest, when the vision you held finally breathes, you will not boast. You will simply lift your eyes and whisper, "This could only be God." Because it was never by strength, never by strategy, but by surrender. Right now, heaven is marking your obedience. The time you spent in waiting was not a pause, it was a prophecy. Every seed of faith planted in silence is about to bloom publicly. And when it does, those who watch will know divine timing is never late. If your heart feels this shift, type 404 in the comments. not as a superstition, but as a sign of alignment, a prophetic number representing open doors and divine timing. When you write it, you're not performing an act, you're making an agreement. Heaven reads obedience, not emojis. The chapter of delay is closing. The era of arrival begins. You are not stepping into favor, you are becoming it. And from this moment on, every waiting room will turn into a witness stand. There is a fragrance that follows endurance, the quiet perfume of resilience. The holy scent of those who refuse to give up when everything in them wanted to. That fragrance now rests upon you. It does not come from success. It comes from survival. Heaven has marked you with something that can't be faked or taught, it can only be lived. You have walked through storms and still learned how to worship in the rain. The oil of distinction was produced in those very storms. God separated you not to punish you, but to reveal something different within you. You were never meant to blend into the background. The anointing on your life carries a sound, a vibration that the earth has been waiting for. When you walk into rooms, atmospheres shift, not because you seek attention, but because light naturally alters darkness. You do not force your difference, it simply exists. There was a time when you wished you could be like everyone else. You tried to blend in, to quiet your calling, to shrink your fire so others would feel comfortable. But it never worked. The divine signature on your spirit kept drawing attention to you, even when you didn't want it. You could not hide, because heaven never designed you to. You were made to stand out, not for pride, but for purpose. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. That truth has been written into your existence. You were known before you were visible. You were chosen before you were ready. God placed something in you that would not let you settle. Something that constantly whispers. You were made for more. That whisper was not ambition, it was remembrance. Your soul remembers who sent you. You may not have understood why certain relationships ended, why doors you begged for stayed locked, or why you had to walk alone for so long. But now, you begin to see the pattern. You were not losing people, you were losing limitation. Every departure cleared space for divine arrival. Heaven needed you unentangled, unburdened, undistracted. Only then could you hear clearly, walk boldly, and see purely. Distinction is not always comfortable. It comes with misunderstanding. Those who lack spiritual sight often mislabel divine difference as arrogance. They don't see the weight you carry, only the light you emit. But light is heavy, it costs something. You paid the price in tears, in nights of questioning, in surrender. The glow that others envy came from seasons of being broken open. Now you are learning to stand in your difference without apology. You have discovered that being set apart is not isolation, it is invitation. God invites you into higher intimacy, clearer purpose, deeper peace. You walk a narrow path, but it is lined with favor. The crowd may never understand, but heaven does. And that is enough. When you finally stop running from your uniqueness, something powerful happens. Creation begins to respond. Opportunities find you because they recognize your frequency. The universe bends toward obedience. The anointing draws alignment. That is why lately, things seem to happen suddenly. What took years before now happens in moments. It's not coincidence, it's culmination. You are standing in the harvest of hidden obedience. There is also a new peace resting on you, the peace of acceptance. You have stopped trying to convince others of your worth. You have learned that identity is not negotiated, it is revealed. You no longer need applause to validate what God already confirmed. And that quiet confidence is exactly what distinguishes you in this next chapter. Your difference will make sense soon. The traits that once drew criticism will attract divine favor. The voice that was ignored will become the one that carries clarity. The ideas that seemed strange will become solutions others depend on. You will find that what made you too much was simply heaven's signature, proving that you were never meant to be a copy. You are the rare design of divine imagination, a vessel crafted for visibility. Not because you are flawless, but because you are faithful. Every scar now glows like a mark of authenticity. Every wound has become a window for light to pass through. You have been set apart for such a time as this, not to compete, but to complete a divine picture only you can paint. So walk in it. Let the oil flow freely. Let your difference speak loudly without words. You don't need to announce who you are. Your life will announce it for you. Every step forward is evidence that heaven's investment in you was not in vain. You carry distinction not by decision, but by divine decree. The world will soon recognize what heaven has always known, that you were never ordinary. You were set apart to shine, to heal, to awaken. Every breath you take from here carries assignment. Walk boldly in that light. You are heaven's living signature on the earth. There are battles that happen where no one can see, silent wars of the spirit, hidden beneath calm smiles and steady eyes. You've fought those wars. You've endured invisible storms that tried to drown your faith. There were nights when darkness spoke loudly, whispering that you were forgotten, that your prayers were wasted breath. But you didn't give in. Somewhere deep inside, a faint flame refused to die. That was not just hope, that was heaven holding your soul upright. The warfare in your shadows was never random. It was a deliberate attempt to silence a voice that carries light. The enemy never attacks what poses no threat. He targeted you because your obedience is dangerous to darkness. Every time you chose forgiveness over anger, every time you decided to keep believing despite the silence, light tore through another layer of shadow. You became a silent warrior, unarmed in the natural but unstoppable in the spirit. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 21. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. That question was not only for ancient Israel, it was for you in the valley seasons, when confusion tried to pull you in two directions, when pain made you question your purpose. Heaven was asking, will you still follow? And you did. Even limping, even bleeding, even uncertain, you kept walking. That is what made you dangerous. The greatest spiritual victories are rarely loud. They happen in moments of quiet defiance, when you whisper a prayer through tears, when you worship while your heart aches, when you speak faith while fear is screaming. Each of those moments counted as warfare. You didn't need a sword. Your surrender was your weapon. You might not have realized it, but while you were weeping, heaven was warring. Angels were assigned to guard your purpose, to protect your peace, to preserve your path. When you were too weary to pray, your endurance became your intercession. You didn't have to win every day. You just had to keep standing. There were days you thought, I can't take another hit. Yet here you are. That's proof of victory, and you survived battles that should have destroyed your spirit, yet your faith stands intact. The enemy aimed to break your voice, but all he managed to do was deepen it. The sound that comes from your pain now carries authority. You speak not as a victim, but as one who's seen the battlefield and still believes in glory. Every warrior of light walks through seasons of hidden warfare. You're not cursed for it, you're confirmed by it. If darkness fights you, it's because you carry something it fears. Every blow was a backhanded compliment from hell acknowledging the power heaven placed inside you. There were moments when people misunderstood your exhaustion, thinking you'd lost your fire. But they couldn't see that you were fighting unseen forces. Standing between the old you and the new one, every sleepless night, every cry no one heard, became incense before God. Nothing was wasted, not a tear, not a sigh, not a moment of silence. The warfare forged wisdom. You've learned to recognize spiritual tension for what it is, not punishment, but proof that you're close to breakthrough. When resistance rises, you no longer panic, you discern. You've learned that warfare often intensifies right before the unveiling. The pressure means promotion. The power of your story lies not in perfection, but in perseverance. You never needed to win every battle, you just needed to outlast them. And you did. That's why the enemy fears your peace now, because peace is proof of victory. You carry it like armor, even when darkness throws its last attempt, distraction, doubt, fatigue. You now know the truth. The war was never about what you lost, but about what you carry. Your purpose is the real target, but it cannot be stolen, because heaven wrote it in ink that no darkness can erase. You are emerging from the shadows, not wounded but wiser. The bruises have become blueprints. The pain has become prophecy. You no longer fight for survival. You fight from victory. Every day you rise is a declaration that light cannot be buried. Now the atmosphere around you is shifting. What once attacked you will begin to serve you. Every closed door will turn into a shield. Every rejection will redirect you toward your rightful space. The storms you survived have trained you for clarity, for discernment, for peace that terrifies the enemy. You carry calm as a weapon now. You walk with light that blinds what once intimidated you. You have seen too much of God's faithfulness to ever doubt again. The war in the shadows is ending, not because darkness has stopped attacking, but because you've learned how to walk above it. You no longer fight for freedom, you live in it. The shadows that once chased you now retreat from the glow you carry. You are proof that light doesn't need to shout, it just needs to show up. And every time you walk into a room, light walks in with you. There comes a moment when everything shifts, when what was hidden begins to reveal itself. When the tables quietly turn. You are standing in that moment now. What once looked like loss is becoming leverage. The very things that broke your heart are becoming the building blocks of your destiny. Heaven is reversing the narrative. The ashes you carried are being exchanged for authority. The Word of God declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 11, "You turned my mourning into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy." That verse is no longer a promise, it's your reality in motion. You are walking into divine reversal, the kind that cannot be explained, only witnessed. People will look at your life and wonder, how did this happen so suddenly? But you will know, it wasn't sudden, it was scheduled. Every setback you endured was a setup for visibility. There is a divine irony in how God moves. He often allows the enemy to build the stage, only to let his chosen ones stand upon it. What was meant to humiliate you will become your platform of redemption. The very words spoken against you will echo as proof of how far you've come. Every no that stung, every delay that frustrated you, He's turning them into a symphony of yes. God never wastes pain, He repurposes it. The stones they threw became your stepping stones. The betrayals that burned you became the fire that forged your strength. Every experience was part of the architecture of your rising. Now the tables are turning, quietly but undeniably. You won't need to announce it. Life will announce it for you. The same ground that once mocked your effort will soon testify of your fruit. The conversations that once excluded your name will begin to revolve around it, not because of status, but because of favor. You don't chase recognition, it finds you. This reversal carries divine justice. God is not just blessing you. He's balancing the scales. He's not merely rewarding your faithfulness. He's restoring what was unfairly taken. You are stepping into a season of recovery so complete that even your regrets will bow to redemption. The story that once hurt to remember will soon become the story you tell with gratitude. You will recognize the turning not by loud miracles but by quiet alignments. Suddenly, the people who once overlooked you will look again. Opportunities will begin to align with your purpose as if they had been waiting for your arrival. The heaviness that once clouded your spirit will lift, replaced by peace that cannot be explained. This is not revenge, it's restoration. God never lifts you to humiliate others. He lifts you to heal what was broken. When your family sees the transformation, their awe will soften into faith. The same disbelief that once separated you will turn into belief that binds. Through your rise, even those who once resisted will feel redemption. You are the proof that faith outlasts misunderstanding. You are the evidence that endurance never returns empty. Heaven is rewriting your ending, and no human opinion can undo it. This is divine justice at work, silent, sovereign, unstoppable. Do not fear being seen in this season. You have paid the price for visibility. You have walked through darkness with grace, through doubt with dignity, through delay with discipline. You are not the same as before. You have been refined, and now God trusts you with influence. Soon, laughter will replace lament, gratitude will replace grief, and peace steady, undeniable peace will become your constant companion. The same tears that once blurred your vision will now become the reflection of light in your eyes. You will know that the turning has begun when the things that used to trigger pain start producing praise. This reversal will not be noisy. It will be holy. You will walk into rooms that carry your restoration. You will see doors open that once refused to budge. You will feel heaven's wind behind you, propelling you into everything that once seemed impossible. If this truth resonates in your soul, comment. Tables turn. It's not just a phrase, it's a declaration that your story is shifting, that everything meant to bury you is now building you. Those two words carry power. They tell heaven you agree with divine justice and tell darkness it has lost its grip. When you write tables turn, you are not speaking from wishful hope, you are echoing heaven's decree. You are declaring that justice has found your name, that balance is being restored, that what was against you is now working for you. Each letter carries a shift. When you type it, you align your life with divine timing. You agree that the seasons have changed, that you no longer chase what's yours, it's chasing you. Heaven reads that simple phrase as surrender to restoration. So speak it softly, but mean it deeply. Tables turn. Let those words settle into your spirit as a seal of victory. There comes a point when silence becomes sound, when the quiet years start to sing of purpose fulfilled. You are now walking into that melody. The rise that once seemed distant is unfolding gently, like morning light spreading over a landscape that thought night would last forever. Your name is being whispered in rooms you never entered. Your effort remembered in moments you thought were forgotten. God is revealing what He's been building in secret. The book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1 declares, "The rise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." That word now rests over your life like dawn over a dark valley. You are not the same soul that began this journey. You are lighter, wiser, grounded. The pain that once crushed you has become oil. Every scar now glows with meaning. You have become a living reflection of divine persistence. Those who once dismissed your quiet strength will have to look again. They'll notice something different, not arrogance, but an unexplainable calm. You no longer need to explain what changed. Your peace tells the story. You are walking evidence that grace transforms quietly but permanently. Your rise is not just for recognition, it's for revelation. Through your story, others will glimpse the patience of heaven. They'll see that sometimes the holiest thing God does is wait with us, letting faith mature until it's unshakable. You waited, and now what was written is beginning to breathe. Don't rush this unveiling, let it unfold like a flower uncoiling in sunlight. Every layer is sacred. The slower it opens, the stronger it grows. And as it blooms, you'll find that the applause of heaven sounds nothing like the noise of the world. It's softer, purer, and infinitely more satisfying. You are learning the rhythm of divine visibility, the art of shining without striving. You no longer have to chase influence, because light doesn't chase, it draws. People will find you not through performance, but through presence. That's what true anointing does. It speaks when you're silent. Every room you enter from now on will sense the residue of prayer. Every word you speak will carry fragrance from the secret place. You don't need to prove that God is with you. Peace will prove it for you. Let your family see the transformation without explanation. Let your friends notice the difference without defense. Your growth is your statement. The grace resting on your shoulders will preach louder than any sermon you could give. And in the gentle rise of this new season, there will come a moment when you'll feel the pull to share, when something inside you will whisper, "Let this light travel." That moment is sacred. Don't do it from obligation. Do it from overflow. When your heart recognizes truth, sometimes the most beautiful response is to let it ripple outward, like setting a lantern on a river and watching its glow drift into another soul's night. That's what a share truly is, a quiet act of worship, a way to pass the flame. And when this message stirs something warm inside you, let your heart answer with a gentle like. Think of it as lighting a candle in the dark, a silent acknowledgement that you too carry light. It isn't about approval, it's about resonance. And if you find peace here, if these words feel like home, stay close to the flame. Subscribe not out of habit, but out of hunger to grow, to remain in the company of light bearers who walk the same narrow road toward purpose. Every act born of sincerity becomes worship when it's done in truth. Whether you whisper, reflect, or remain still, heaven sees your agreement. You are part of something larger than a single story. You are part of a movement of hearts awakening to divine calling. So stand tall in this new glow. Let the world see grace on your face and conviction in your step. The ones who once doubted will feel hope again through your courage. You are not merely rising, you are radiating. And as you move forward, remember, the most powerful light is the one that burns quietly yet never goes out. Keep it alive. Keep it kind. Keep it holy. Let this light guide you gently, not as a command, but as a compass. You don't need to know every step ahead, just trust the glow that appears at your feet. Each day, the radiance grows stronger, reminding you that purpose unfolds one obedient step at a time. When you carry light, you become a mirror of mercy. Every word, every act of kindness becomes a reflection of the grace that raised you. Your presence alone will remind others that hope is still alive, that even in silence, God still moves. So walk forward softly, carrying this flame like something holy. Let it warm, not burn. Let it draw, not demand. And as you do, the world will see through you what heaven has always seen, light that never fades. From the ashes of your waiting, A new clarity is rising. It is quiet but undeniable, the sense that you are finally standing in the rhythm of what you were made for. No striving, no rushing, no need to prove anything anymore. What once felt heavy now feels holy. What once drained you now flows with ease. This is what alignment feels like: the heart, the calling, and the Creator moving in unison. You are walking into a space where grace becomes your language. The same mouth that once spoke doubt now releases peace. The same heart that once carried wounds now carries wisdom. God has used your pain as a translator, teaching you how to speak the dialect of empathy. You can now recognize brokenness in others because you've carried it yourself. That's how healers are born, not through ease, but through endurance. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 40, verse 2. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. That verse has come alive within you. You know what it feels like to be lifted, not just rescued, but repositioned. God didn't just pull you out, He placed you differently. Where once your footing was uncertain, now you stand firm. The mud that once clung to your name has dried into testimony. The past no longer defines you. It refines you. There was a time when you questioned if any of it was worth it: the tears, the silence, the waiting, the rejection. But now, when you look back, the pattern becomes visible. Every detour, every delay, every heartbreak was a step toward this stability. You couldn't have known it then, but heaven was securing your foundation so nothing could shake you later. And indeed, nothing can. The voices that once haunted you no longer have power. The memories that once triggered pain now trigger gratitude. You survived what others didn't, and you carry that survival with humility, not pride. You don't boast about endurance. You breathe it. It shows in how you move, how you listen, how you forgive. This stability isn't loud, it's steady. It's the peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. It's the joy that doesn't fade when storms come. You've learned to find God not only in breakthroughs, but in the still moments between them. You've learned that maturity and faith isn't about getting what you want, it's about trusting what God decides. This chapter of your life is not about proving your anointing, but protecting your peace. You have discovered that the greatest strength is not force, it's restraint. You could respond, but you choose silence. You could fight, but you choose prayer. You could run, but you choose to stand still and watch God work. That is not weakness, that is wisdom. That is, heaven has entrusted you with clarity, and clarity carries responsibility. You now understand that not everyone can walk with you into this next stage. Some relationships were only meant for the wilderness, not the promised land. Releasing them doesn't mean you've stopped loving, it means you've learned to honor divine timing. You can bless people and still let them go. You are no longer desperate for closure because you have peace. The explanations you never received no longer torment you. You've learned to live with holy mystery, knowing that not every answer belongs on this side of eternity. What once demanded understanding now simply invites trust. Your identity has shifted from survivor to steward. You are not just holding testimony, you are managing grace. Your words now carry weight, your silence carries wisdom. People will begin to seek your voice, not because you are loud, but because you are grounded. They will feel stability in you. They will sense rest in your presence. You have become a walking sanctuary for weary souls. This stability will open new paths. God can now trust you with influence, because influence in the hands of the healed becomes healing itself. Every place your feet touch will feel the imprint of peace. You will restore what chaos dismantled simply by showing up whole. The storms did not leave you empty, they left you established. You are no longer the one searching for solid ground. You are solid ground for others. This is the quiet miracle of transformation, to emerge from the mud and become the rock. Let the world keep spinning in noise. You, chosen one, have learned the rhythm of stillness, and in that stillness, heaven finds you usable. For it is only on stable hearts that divine blueprints can be written. The winds may shift again, but you will not. What once swayed you now only strengthens your stance. You have become immovable because you finally understand peace is not a place, it's a posture. And as you remain anchored, heaven builds around you. Your steadiness becomes prophecy. Your calm becomes guidance. You are no longer surviving, you are established. Every season of hidden work leads to a moment of unveiling, and yours is here. You can feel it, the subtle electricity in the air, the divine shift in your spirit. Heaven is no longer whispering preparation, it's declaring presentation. The things you once prayed for are beginning to take shape. The waiting is giving way to walking. The invisible is turning visible. This is not coincidence. This is fulfillment. You are stepping into a chapter that was written long before you were born. Everything is aligning, the timing, the connections, the opportunities. The winds that once resisted you are now carrying you forward. You are walking into a divine acceleration where what took others years will unfold for you in moments. Heaven speaks through the writings of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 7. Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion, and instead of disgrace, you will rejoice in your inheritance. That promise is your portion now. The double portion is not just about blessing, it's about balance. For every tear you cried, there will be double joy. For every betrayal, double favor. For every loss, double restoration. God has not forgotten a single detail. The same ground that once drank your pain will now yield your harvest. You may feel the trembling of change, don't mistake it for fear. It's the sound of walls collapsing, barriers falling, and limitations breaking. Heaven is clearing the path so that nothing can stand between you and what has been promised. You don't have to chase the blessing. It's already been assigned to meet you. The time of hiding is over. The voice you tried to silence, the dream you buried under logic, the hope you tucked away for someday, they are all awakening now. You are about to realize why the process was so long, why the fire was so fierce, and why the silence lasted as it did. You are not being punished. You are being perfected. Now, as the curtain rises, your spirit is ready. You have learned to walk humbly in power, to remain kind in authority, and to love deeply in leadership. The fire that once hurt you has now become your light. The places that once rejected you will soon invite you. The same voice that trembled in insecurity will now speak with clarity and grace. There is a confidence resting on you now, not arrogance, but assurance. You know who sent you. You no longer question your place at the table because heaven built the table for you. You are not stepping into someone else's lane. You are walking in the space heaven designed for your feet alone. And yes, your family will see it. Those who once misunderstood your calling will witness your clarity. The ones who thought you were chasing fantasy will recognize that faith was the foundation all along. They will not just see your success, they will feel your peace, and it will speak louder than words. This unveiling is not for applause, it's for impact. You will carry influence that restores, not impresses. Your rise will open doors for others who thought it was too late for them. Through your obedience, others will remember that it's never too late for God to rewrite a story. Everything that was dimmed is about to shine again. Every voice that was silenced is about to sing again. Every dream that was buried is about to breathe again. Heaven is awakening every dormant thing in you, not for your glory, but for His. If this word resonates in your spirit, type 555 in the comments. It is a prophetic sign of divine grace, new chapters, and completion of old cycles. When you write it, you are not chasing favor, you are acknowledging that it has already found you. Your rise is not loud, but it is lasting. The stage of your unveiling is sacred ground. Heaven does not announce without intention, and this moment carries that intention. You are being presented, not promoted. The world will see the glow, but heaven will know the cost. Walk gently in your light, chosen one. The double portion is here not in theory, but in truth. When you write 555, you are not typing a number, you are echoing grace. It is the rhythm of divine renewal, the heartbeat of heaven marking the end of what once confined you and the birth of what is now calling you forward. You are stepping into balance, favor, and completion. Each 5 carries a layer of meaning, mercy that covers your past, grace that fills your present, and glory that secures your future. You are not reaching for the blessing, it's already wrapped itself around you. This is the sound of cycles closing and new chapters beginning. So type it with intention 555. Let it be your signature of surrender, your whisper of alignment. Heaven reads faith more clearly than words. And in this small act, you are confirming the waiting is over and grace is reigning now. Grace. There are moments in life when everything begins to make sense, not because all questions are answered, but because your spirit finally recognizes the pattern. You begin to see how every loss, every delay, every disappointment was part of a divine design. The chaos that once confused you now reveals its symmetry. Heaven never wasted a single season. It simply waited until you could see the meaning. This is where you stand now in revelation. The fog has lifted. The confusion that once clouded your faith has cleared, and what remains is clarity carved by fire. You no longer need constant reassurance because now you know. You can sense when God is moving, even in the quiet. You can feel His hand, not because it's visible, but because your soul has learned its weight. The Apostle Paul wrote in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." That verse has become more than words, it's become your reality. You've lived it. You've seen how pain turned into preparation, how delay became development, and how even rejection became redirection. Every chapter that once felt like punishment was actually preparation for the page you're standing on now. Your eyes have changed. You no longer view hardships as curses. You see them as classrooms. Every struggle was a teacher disguised as a storm, and with every lesson came strength you didn't know you possessed. You learned endurance, patience, discernment, and wisdom, the kind that cannot be borrowed, only built. Now, you move differently. You listen before reacting. You pause before responding. You recognize divine timing in detours. That is the mark of maturity, not perfection, but perception. You've learned that not every good thing is a God thing, and not every open door leads to peace. You know how to test the wind of opportunity now. You know how to wait for the whisper. In this new awareness, peace has become your compass. It's not that life has stopped being difficult, it's that difficulty no longer dictates your direction. You've discovered a calm within the storm, a holy quiet that anchors you when everything else trembles. You no longer chase validation, you walk with vision. This is the season where your steps are no longer random, they're rhythmic. You walk in cadence with heaven's heartbeat. Every decision now carries weight because it flows from wisdom, not desperation. You have become dangerous to darkness not because of what you say, but because of what you know. Knowledge anchored in faith is unshakable. There was a time when you sought signs from everywhere, dreams, people, confirmations. Now, you understand that the greatest sign is peace. When it's from God, it carries rest. When it's not, it carries unrest. That inner knowing has become your greatest shield. You can sense when something aligns with your assignment, and you refuse to force what doesn't. And in this clarity, forgiveness has become easier. You've stopped expecting people to understand what they were never meant to see. You no longer chase apologies from those who lacked the capacity to see your value. Forgiveness is not weakness anymore, it's wisdom. You forgive not to free them, but to keep your spirit uncluttered. You've grown past needing closure from others because you found completion in God. That's why your spirit feels lighter. That's why certain memories no longer sting. Heaven has closed the pages that no longer serve your story. You've learned that some answers are silence and that silence is sacred. Now you understand that being chosen isn't about superiority, it's about responsibility. You carry revelation, not recognition. The lessons you've lived are now meant to guide others. You don't preach them, you embody them. Your life itself has become the message that grace redeems, that waiting refines, that obedience rewards. This next chapter is not about striving, but sustaining. It's about walking with consistency in what you already know to be true. You've passed the test of patience, and now heaven can trust you with permanence. The things being built in your life now will last because they're not driven by emotion, they're anchored in purpose. You've reached the place where you no longer ask, why me, but what now? That question shifts everything. It turns pain into purpose, waiting into wisdom, and victory into vision. You are not at the end. You are at the unveiling of who you truly are. You are stepping into the fullness of understanding. The storms taught you faith. The silence taught you discernment. The losses taught you gratitude. And now, the peace teaches you stewardship. Everything you went through was not wasted, it was invested. Walk gently in this awareness. You carry answers now, not questions. And when you speak, the world will listen not because your voice is loud, but because it carries the sound of someone who has seen God in every season and still believes. There is a quiet majesty in restoration. It does not arrive with noise or spectacle. It comes softly, like dawn creeping over mountains that thought they'd never see the sun again. You are standing in that sunrise now. The light of restoration is touching every place that once held pain. And what was broken is being made whole, not replaced, but redeemed. The divine reversal has begun to move through your life. Where loss once echoed, laughter now dwells. Where regret once spoke, wisdom now whispers. The same chapters that once made you weep now carry revelation when you revisit them. God has not erased your past. He has rewritten its meaning. You can look at what once hurt and no longer feel bitterness, only understanding. That is redemption in its purest form, according to what is revealed in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. Those words live in your story now. Or, you once mourned the years that felt wasted, the dreams delayed, the doors denied, the opportunities that slipped through your hands. But heaven was counting time differently. What you thought you lost was never gone. It was being multiplied. God has been gathering fragments, turning every broken piece into the mosaic of your restoration. This restoration is not about possessions or status. It's about alignment. You are being restored to yourself, to joy, to purpose, to peace. The person who doubted their worth no longer exists. The one who now stands in their place is wiser, whole, anchored. The version of you emerging now has roots too deep to be shaken. When restoration moves, it doesn't just rebuild what was, it upgrades it. The doors reopening are not the same as before, they are stronger, wider, guarded by grace. The relationships being mended now will carry mutual understanding, not dependency. The dreams returning to your heart are purified, stripped of fear and clothed in faith. Everything coming back to you will return, refined. Restoration does not rush. It unfolds with divine timing, layer by layer, like an artist painting over old scars with new color. You are that canvas. What the world once saw as damaged, heaven now displays as masterpiece. Every healed crack reflects light differently. Every scar glimmers with the story of survival. You have learned that being restored is not about returning to who you were, it's about becoming who you were always meant to be. There is strength now in your gentleness, authority in your stillness. You don't fight for recognition. You embody resilience. You don't demand closure. You carry completion. In this season, peace has replaced striving. The same situations that once triggered panic now meet patience. You respond differently because you are different. You no longer operate from the fear of loss. You move with the certainty of purpose. Restoration has recalibrated your heart. It beats in rhythm with heaven now. What's coming to you is not random, it's repayment. Every act of obedience, every seed of faith, every unseen prayer is now bearing fruit. The harvest was delayed, not denied, and now it comes pressed down, overflowing not as compensation, but as confirmation. Heaven is not just returning what was taken, it's adding interest. Even your mistakes have been folded into the equation of grace. God wastes nothing. The moments you regret most have become the lessons that serve your leadership. You will one day thank Him not only for what He gave, but for what He withheld. The things that never worked out were the walls that kept you within the right path. This restoration also brings reconciliation, not necessarily with everyone, but with everything. You are making peace with your story, with your timing, with your own humanity. The inner wars that once consumed your energy are ceasing. You are finally at peace with what was, at rest with what is, and ready for what will be. And when people ask, "How did you survive all that?" you'll smile not with pride, but with wonder. Because you'll know you didn't survive by strength, you were carried by grace. You'll tell them that restoration doesn't erase the evidence of pain, it transforms it into proof of purpose. The world will look at you and see beauty, but heaven will look and see fulfillment. You have become the embodiment of Joel's promise, a living restoration story, radiant with redemption. So breathe deeply in this new air. The wilderness is behind you, the Suzom. The fields are green again, the locusts are gone, and the harvest has come. Nothing you lost is beyond resurrection. Everything broken has bowed to restoration. The same hands that once held ashes now cradle abundance. What was empty is full again. You walk through restored ground, barefoot and fearless. Restoration has become your identity. You no longer chase healing, you embody it. Everywhere you step, something lost finds life again. When God begins to display what He has built in secret, the unveiling never feels forced. It simply happens. You are walking into that unveiling now. The quiet faithfulness that carried you through the unseen years is beginning to glow. What was once invisible is becoming undeniable. Your story is shifting from silence to song. The Word of God declares in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. This verse has never fit anyone more perfectly than it fits you in this moment. You've spent seasons wondering when it would be your turn to shine, and now heaven whispers, now. Not because you finally become worthy, but because you finally become ready. The light in you has matured. It knows how to burn without consuming you. Your rise will not be dramatic, but steady, like dawn creeping across a still horizon. People will notice not the noise of your success, but the peace that surrounds it. That peace will become your signature, the proof that what you carry is not ambition, but anointing. You have learned to shine without competing, to stand without comparing, to lead without needing control. You've learned that real light doesn't demand, it invites. It draws hearts without manipulation. It doesn't chase attention. It simply illuminates what others forgot to see. You have become that kind of light, and because of that, God can now trust you with visibility. He knows your motives have been purified by fire. He knows that when the attention comes, you'll use it not for pride, but for purpose. Your influence will not inflate you, it will extend grace. You won't use your voice to boast, you'll use it to build. The world is starving for authenticity, and your life is becoming its feast. Your peace will preach louder than sermons. Your calm will quiet storms in others. Every room you walk into will feel lighter, not because you speak first, but because heaven speaks through you. You have become a living lighthouse, steady, constant, radiant, and yet this light was never meant to be contained. When you share what you've learned, you aren't performing, you're planting. When your story touches another life, you're not repeating, you're releasing. The glow multiplies when it moves. So if these words stir something alive within you, let the light travel. Let it move from your hands to another's heart. A simple act to share can be a spark in someone else's night. If this message settles peace over your spirit, let your heart breathe out a quiet like, not for the sake of approval, but as a lantern lifted saying, yes, I see the light too. And when words rise within you, gratitude, revelation, or quiet agreement, let them flow below as a comment. Think of it not as feedback, but as carving your initials into the walls of light, a way of saying, I was here and I believe. And if this space feels like a home for your soul, stay by the fire. Subscribe not as a follower, but as a fellow traveler who chooses to walk beside light instead of shadow. Your engagement is not transaction, it's transformation. Every click, every echo of agreement, every small ripple of kindness creates another circle of light in the dark. It's how heaven multiplies what started in one heart into 1,000. You were never meant to shine alone. Your glow is a gathering signal, calling others out of hiding. Every time you lift your light, someone else remembers that they have one too. That is how revival begins, not through noise, but through gentle illumination. The same God who called you from obscurity is now sending your voice into the open. He's not asking you to strive, he's asking you to shine. This isn't performance, it's purpose. You are not chasing the spotlight, you are carrying it. And as your story spreads, it won't just inspire, it will ignite. Someone broken will see your journey and believe again. Someone weary will hear your voice and breathe again. That's the beauty of divine exposure. It doesn't elevate ego, it elevates others. So walk confidently in your glow. Let your words be warmth. Let your life be proof. You don't have to force connection. You only need to reflect grace. The light that brought you through will now flow through you. You are the city on the hill, the proof that faith built can never be hidden. You don't need to announce your radiance. The world will feel it. And when they do, it will not be your name they remember, it will be the presence that moved through you. So let it move. Let it travel. Let it shine. The light in you was never meant to stay still, it was meant to spread. And as it spreads, it will awaken hearts still sleeping in the dark. One spark becomes many until the world itself begins to glow. Every story of faith has a moment when heaven makes its declaration visible. You have reached that moment, the place where the invisible becomes undeniable. What was once spoken in prayer now begins to take form in presence. You can feel it in the air, a quiet anticipation, a holy stillness before the unveiling. Heaven is aligning people, places, and timing with precision. Only divinity can orchestrate. You have not risen suddenly, you have risen steadily. Every unseen year of faithfulness has built this moment's foundation. You didn't skip steps. You survived them. You didn't leap ahead. You learned through loss. That's why what's being placed in your hands now will last. It is not fragile, it is forged. The platform you're being lifted onto is not made of applause, it's made of obedience. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, verse 45. Blessed is she who has believed that the Lord would fulfill his promises to her. That blessing now rests on you. You believed even when logic failed. You trusted even when it hurt. And because of that faith, heaven honors you openly. This is the moment when private conviction becomes public confirmation. It's not pride, it's prophecy unfolding. You are living proof that belief is stronger than sight. Those who once questioned your persistence will soon witness your fulfillment. Not because you argued, but because you endured. The very people who dismissed you will now respect the grace you carry, but don't gloat, just smile. Let the light speak. Your response to recognition will be silence, because your gratitude will say everything your words cannot. You will soon see the evidence of divine favor manifest around you. Connections that feel ordained, breakthroughs that happen effortlessly, peace that replaces striving. These are not rewards for perfection. They are gifts for persistence. God is showing you that obedience is never wasted. Every quiet act of faith was a seed. Every seed is now breaking through the soil. You are the living garden of patience. The blooms you carry have deep roots. You cannot be easily shaken anymore because you know who sustains your growth. The same God who began this work in you is now bringing it to visible completion. Every delay was watering the soil. Every waiting season was softening your heart for harvest. When the fulfillment comes, remember how far you've come. Remember the nights of doubt, the days of silence, the moments you almost gave up. Those memories are not meant to haunt you, they're meant to humble you. They remind you that grace was never earned, it was given, and that the rise you walk in now belongs to heaven's glory, not human effort. You may notice that your presence begins to carry more weight in this season. Your words will land differently. Your prayers will carry a new authority. You'll find that even your stillness speaks louder than your striving. That's because you're no longer trying to convince anyone, you've become conviction itself. The light in you has matured. It no longer flickers. It glows. This elevation is not just about you, it's about legacy. God is using your life as a signal to others that faith still works. You are becoming the proof your family needed to believe again. Your rise will not only redeem your story, it will renew their hope. Through you, generations will remember that God keeps his promises. But stay humble. Visibility is not the finish line, it's a new beginning. Every blessing carries responsibility. Every elevation requires greater sensitivity to the Spirit. What God gives you publicly must still be guarded privately. Protect your peace, guard your purity. Stay anchored in prayer, because influence without intimacy becomes empty. The crown placed on your head is not a decoration, it's a commission. It represents stewardship. You are being crowned before witnesses, not to be celebrated, but to be trusted. The same heaven that hid you is now presenting you, but its eyes still watch over how you carry the weight of favor. So walk with gentleness in glory. Let humility remain your crown's foundation. Do not forget the days when faith was all you had, because those are the days that made this one possible. Your rise will not only shock your family, it will soften them. The same ones who misunderstood you will find healing through your grace. Your presence will testify louder than any explanation. They will see in you what faith looks like when it matures: peace, patience, and power wrapped in humility. This is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your legacy. You are standing where promises meet fulfillment, where prayers become evidence, and where faith turns into sight. Everything heaven whispered over your life is now echoing in reality. And the echo will not fade, it will multiply through every life your light touches. Every story that heaven writes ends where glory begins in stillness, not noise. You have arrived at that sacred stillness now. The long road behind you glimmers with the traces of divine footsteps, and the horizon before you hums with new purpose. Everything you endured, everything you lost, everything you learned has led here to the moment where your life itself becomes a message. The rise God promised is not just about height, it's about depth. You have gone deep into places within yourself that few ever reach. The silence trained your spirit. The storms trained your stamina. The waiting trained your wisdom. That's why your rise is not shallow, it's solid. What you carry now cannot be stolen, because it's not just a blessing, it's your becoming. Heaven has always intended for your elevation to redeem more than your name. It was never about proving others wrong. It was about proving that faith still changes everything. Your ascent is a mirror for redemption itself, how God takes what the world discards and turns it into divine evidence. Every wound has become a window for His glory to shine through. The book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14 declares, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." That promise was the anchor of your journey, and now it has become your reality. The battles you no longer fight are the proof that heaven already won them. Every enemy that once chased you has faded into the distance, silenced by victory. You do not fight for peace anymore, you live from it. Look at your life now. What once felt like ruins has become revelation. The ashes that once covered your dreams now glimmer with reflection. You are not the same as when you began. You are brighter, stronger, softer, wiser. The old version of you died in the fire so that this one could rise from it. You are the resurrection of everything that once looked lost. And this rise, it is not loud or boastful. It is graceful. It is the kind of success that doesn't need validation. You no longer walk to prove, but to fulfill. You've stopped asking who believes in you, because now you understand it was never about their belief. It was about yours. You finally believe in what God has placed in you. Your family will watch and wonder how such peace is possible. They will remember the days when you were weary, and they will see the difference now, the light that does not flicker, the strength that does not shout. They will realize that what raised you was not luck, but love divine, unrelenting love. The legacy you are building is not written in titles or possessions. It's written in transformation. Every word you speak, every step you take, every act of kindness you give will ripple beyond your lifetime. Your obedience has become inheritance. The next generation will walk on the ground you cleansed with your prayers. There will be moments when you look back and wonder if it really happened, if all the pain, all the pruning, All the waiting were necessary, and the answer will rise gently inside you. Yes, because without them, you wouldn't have recognized the promise when it arrived. Pain gave you discernment. Delay gave you depth. Silence gave you strength. You now understand the rhythm of redemption. God never wastes suffering. Every scar you carry is sacred, a record of battles won, of faith that refused to break. You have become the embodiment of grace under pressure, peace under trial, purpose under pain. The rise that shocks your family will not only be in your success, but in your serenity. It will be the peace they cannot explain, the wisdom they cannot ignore, the favor they cannot deny. Through you, they will see that God never abandons His word. And so, you stand at the threshold of legacy. The light that began in obscurity has now become a beacon. You are no longer asking heaven to lift you. You are asking heaven to use you. That is the true victory. You were never meant to climb for yourself. You were meant to open paths for others. Every victory in your hands will become a seed in theirs. Every blessing that surrounds you will birth faith in those who come after. Your rise redeems bloodlines, heals hearts, and restores hope to generations that thought light had left them. You are not simply rising. You are reigning in humility, in peace, in purpose. The promise has unfolded. The journey has been justified. The glory has been given. And heaven looks upon you and whispers what it always knew from the beginning. You were chosen for this. You have become the evidence that prophecy fulfills itself in patience. Every breath you take now is worship. Every step a declaration that purpose always prevails. Heaven applauds quietly as you walk forward. The story is complete, yet it continues because through you, light keeps multiplying across generations. And now, chosen one, the circle closes. You have walked through fire, silence, storms, and revelation. Every word written has been for this moment to remind you that the rise was never random. You were meant to stand here, in the light of understanding, no longer waiting to be chosen, but fully aware that you already are. The story doesn't end when the words stop. It continues through you. Every step forward is another verse. Every breath becomes testimony. You are not just reading a message, you are living it. And as you carry this light into your world, remember it was never meant to stay contained. When something in this message touches your heart, let it move. A gentle share is more than a gesture, it's the release of light from your hands into another's darkness. It's how heaven keeps the flame alive, one spark at a time. If peace rested on you while reading, let your spirit lift a quiet like. Think of it as a candle flickering in agreement, a soft amen whispered in the language of light. You are not reacting, you are resonating. And when gratitude or revelation rises within you, carve it gently below as a comment, not to be seen, but to sow. Each word becomes a seed, growing faith in places you may never visit. And if this sanctuary of words has felt like home, stay close. Subscribe not as a follower, but as one who chooses to walk beside the same river of grace. Here, every new word is a ripple of light continuing your story. The end is not farewell, it is sending. You go now as one who carries divine evidence, not theory but truth that grace rebuilds, that light restores, and that destiny never dies. Your rise will echo long after this message fades. Keep shining. Keep living. Keep spreading the light that found you first.